Moving can be one of the most stressful processes that you'll ever undertake. So, if you're planning on moving anytime soon, you're going to want to watch this entire video because it is filled with tips to help make your move less stressful. If there was a way to make it completely stress free, I'd be a gazillionaire, but I don't think that's possible. But these tips will help make it less stressful. And I know what I'm talking about because I recently moved, and not only did I move, I downsized. So some of these are common sense, and you're going to be saying, duh, but some of them might surprise you. And like I said, these come from my firsthand experience. So the first tip is to forward your mail. Now, you might be thinking, that's common sense. Who wouldn't do that? But here's the thing, I've actually had clients who forgot to forward their mail. You're stressed, you're running around like a chicken with its head cut off, trying to take care of all of the big details like boxes and storage and things like that, and you completely forget to forward your mail. Now, there are two options for forwarding your mail. You can do it online, that's going to cost you $1, or you can go into the post office to do it. But you need to do it early enough so that the post office can process the mail forwarding request. And their website says that you should do it about 7 to 10 days before your move. I think I did it about 14 days before my move. And the website also says that it could take as little as 3 days for your mail to start being forwarded, or it could take up to 2 weeks for your mail to start getting forwarded. So I would say do it at least 10 days before your scheduled move date, if not 12 to 14 days, just to make sure that your mail makes it to your new place and doesn't keep going to the old place. So, forward your mail. Tip number 2 is to activate your utilities: gas, electric, cable, internet, water. Now, here's a tip for you. If you live in a climate that is pretty moderate, you might not want to get your gas turned on until the weather starts to cool down. And then when the weather starts to warm up again in the spring, get the gas turned off. That's going to save you some money. There is no need to pay for gas. And here's a caveat to that. This is assuming that the only thing that runs on gas is your furnace. If you have a gas stove, this tip isn't going to work for you. But if the only thing in your house that runs on gas is your furnace, don't pay for don't pay for gas in those months where you are not using your furnace. Okay. The next tip is to determine when trash day is and what the protocols are for trash pickup. In the county where I live in, you have to use a specific kind of trash can. You have to have a specific type of recycling can if you want to recycle. In my county, recycling is not mandatory. They also have procedures for bulk pickup. There are certain items that if you put them out at the curb, they're not going to pick them up. There are certain items where once you schedule the bulk pickup, you might have to pay for those items to be picked up. And there are other items that are eligible for bulk pickup that they will pick up for free. So you want to get all of that figured out before you move. And you might want to get that figured out for your current location as well. And know that if you have any big items that you might have to schedule a bulk pickup. The fourth tip, and I'm giving you these tips in no particular order. It's not an order of importance or like a checklist that you do step by step by step. These are just items that have come to mind as I've been preparing for my move. So the fourth item on my list is to make sure you change your address with your insurance companies: auto, life, medical. If you're purchasing a house, you'll already have homeowners insurance if you're getting a loan, because that's a requirement of the loan. But if you're renting, you'll want to update the address with whoever handles your renter's insurance. Item number 5 on the list is to update your address with your employer. Now, when I went to do this with the real estate brokerage that I'm with, they required me to complete a new W-9. When I went to update my address with the law firm that I practice with, I didn't have to do that. I just went into Paylocity and updated. So make sure you do that and understand that you may have to complete a new W-9. Number 6 on the list is to update your address with your banks and investment companies. That's pretty straightforward. You'll also want to register to vote. Now, when I put in my change of address with the post office and I did it online, I think that they asked me if I wanted to update my voter registration, and that's how I did it. But regardless of how you do it, make sure that you update your voter registration. Next thing on the list, which is related, is to find out where your polling place is so that you know exactly where you need to go the next time there's an election. That's really important, especially in this climate that we're living in. You want to make sure to vote and that you go to the right place. You don't want to have to cast a provisional ballot. Number 9 on the list is to update your license and your vehicle registration. In the state of Georgia, you have 30 days to update your driver's license once you move in to get your cars registered if you're moving into a different county. The next thing on the list, which is number 10, is to register your kids in school. Now, that might seem like common sense, but I actually had a client who forgot to register her kids in school. So she got it all worked out, but she was stressed when she realized, oh crap, I never registered my kids in school. In relation to that, make sure you know if your kids are going to be taking the school bus, that you know where the bus stop is. And next on the list, and this is really important, is to locate the fuse box and the main water shutoff for the house. And I'll just share a little tidbit with you. When we were preparing for the move on moving day, I had been told by the mover that I hired that I would be responsible for disconnecting the ice maker line from the refrigerator and for disconnecting the washing machine from the water outlet. And when my friend went to disconnect the washing machine, he couldn't get it loose. And the pipe ended up breaking and water was spilling out everywhere. I was upstairs packing up some last minute stuff, and this was on the day of the move. The movers were on the way to the house at this point. And I hear him screaming, where, Sharon, Sharon, where's the water cutoff? Where's the water cutoff? And I'm like, oh crap, I don't know. And so the hot water heater for the house was upstairs. And I had a vague recollection that I had asked one of my neighbors if he knew where the main water shutoff was in my house. And he was like, I think it's probably where the hot water heater is. So that's where I went. And there was a nozzle on top of the hot water heater. And then there was one at the back of the closet where the hot water heater is housed. And I couldn't reach that one. And the one on top was not the main shutoff. And so finally, I got my friend to come upstairs and he was able to reach the nozzle at the back of the closet. And sure enough, that was the shutoff for the water. And, everything was fine. He's handy, so he was able to repair that pipe. But my point in sharing this with you is, had we not been able to get that water shut off, Lord only knows what type of damage could have been done. And thankfully, we got it taken care of. So make sure you know where that main water shutoff is and where the fuse boxes are in the event that you need to turn the electricity off in order to, put in a ceiling fan or make some other type of electrical repair. Now, if you're still with me to this point, go ahead and type the word moving in the comments. So you also want to clean and sanitize the new place. And in an ideal world, you will take possession of your new place a couple days before you have to turn over possession of your old place to the new occupant. And so if you have planned properly, you should be able to go in and get your new place cleaned and sanitized so that you're not trying to do that around boxes and furniture and everything. Number 14 on the list is to update your address with your doctors, your dentist, chiropractor, whomever. 15 on the list is to locate your local post office. Now, you might think, well, that's not a big deal. I can go to any post office to get stamps. But if you get a registered letter, you want to know where you have to go to pick it up. And yeah, the notice that they leave on your door or in your mailbox has the address, but it's just good to know where the local post office is. You want to introduce yourself to your neighbors. Now, you might be thinking, do I really need to introduce myself to my neighbors? But I say yes. You want to form some relationships with the people who live around you. I believe in looking out for my neighbors, not like for my neighbors to look out for me. And in the world that we live in, we create these separations and these boundaries. And, sometimes that's not good. And along that same vein is that you want your neighbors to know who your kids are. And this might be offensive to some people, and it is not my intention to offend anybody, but this is real talk. We know that there are certain people out there who view young Black men, preteens, teens, and young Black men in their 20s and 30s and really on up as a threat. And so if you have a kid that jogs or, they like to walk around the neighborhood, whatever, you want your new neighbors to know that this is your kid and that he belongs in the neighborhood because you know what they do. They call the police when they see somebody that they view as suspicious. So make sure your neighbors know who your kids are. You should also make sure that your neighbors know who your pets are, that you have a black and white dog named Sassy, so that if your dog gets out, the neighbors know that it's not a stray, that it belongs to you. Take your dog down there and say, hey, this is my dog. I usually have him or her on a leash, but if you see him running around, it's my dog. Please call me. Don't call the pound. And I'm a pet lover. So I believe in the leash. I always keep my dogs on a leash, but there have been occasions when they've gotten out. And I had one dog, my most recent dog, who died in April. She was over 100 pounds and people were scared of her, but all my neighbors knew she belonged to me. And if she got out, they knew, oh, Sharon's right behind her because they knew I didn't let her run around loose. The next is to secure other services, whether that is the alarm, the handyman, the electrician, housekeeper, HVAC service. And if you're using a realtor, your realtor should be able to make some good referrals to you in the event that you need any of those service providers. So that's 17 things, but I have a few that are not on my list. And one of those, and I kind of mentioned it earlier, is boxes. Now, like I said, this is my first move in about 16 years, and I truly had no recollection of how expensive moving boxes have become. I got all of my moving boxes from Home Depot, and it was not cheap. What I realized after I bought these boxes is that I might have been able to get some boxes for significantly cheaper, maybe even free, off of Facebook Marketplace. So be sure to plan and to get your boxes as cheaply as possible because it really doesn't make sense to spend hundreds of dollars on boxes that you're going to use one time and probably throw away or give away to somebody else. So plan, 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 and get your boxes as early into the moving process as possible and try to spend as less money as possible on those boxes. Another important tip is to make sure that the smoke detectors and the carbon monoxide detectors in your new place are functioning. Now, if you're renting, it's supposed to be the landlord's responsibility to make sure that the smoke detectors and the carbon monoxide detectors are in working order. And as the tenant, it's your responsibility to change the batteries if they are battery operated versus being hardwired. If they stop working as a tenant, you need to let the landlord know ASAP that there's something wrong with them. But when you're moving, my suggestion, my tip is to go ahead and change the batteries and test them out and make sure that they're working properly before you move in or as soon as you move in. And that way you know that they are functioning properly. Another important tip is to purge early. Now, I mentioned earlier that I downsized. What was crazy about my situation is that over a period of years, three households had been combined. My mom bought the house um, right after my brother had a couple of strokes. And when it became apparent that he was not going to be able to live on his own, she actually bought a house that was about the same size as the house that she had sold. So when they moved into this particular home, all of my mom's stuff and a good portion of my brother's stuff came into the house. My brother passed away. A few years after that, my mom started having health problems. I moved in with her. That was 2009. So I brought some of my stuff as well. So my mom passed away a couple years ago. It's just me in the house. And I'm realizing there's a whole bunch of stuff in this house that I didn't even realize was in there. I mean, it was just crazy. And I really didn't start the purging process until maybe about 90 days before I needed to be out of the house. And there's a whole bunch of backstory surrounding that. But the bottom line is this: if you know that you're going to be downsizing, it is best to purge. I'd say maybe 6 months before start purging and organizing. I know these are items that I'm bringing with me. I know these are items that I'm throwing away and throw them away. I know these are items that I'm giving away and give them away. Don't hold on to them. And the more stuff that you can dispose of and not bring to your new place, the better it is and the easier your move will be. I ended up bringing a lot of stuff with me that I'm probably going to end up giving away or selling like at a yard sale. But I just did not give myself enough time to do all of that purge work that needed to be done. And that was a huge mistake on my part. So let's talk about movers. My suggestion is if you can afford it, use professional movers. Don't use Pookie and Cody and Bebop for your move. And one of the reasons why I say that is that if something gets broken, none of them are going to pay to replace it. If you hire professional movers and something gets broken or they accidentally punch a hole in a wall at the old place or the new place, their insurance will cover it. And my suggestion is that you interview three and get estimates from at least three moving companies and find out how many people they intend to have there for your move, how many trucks. The movers that I hired had 6 guys and 2 trucks. And everything went almost flawlessly. So interview movers, don't use friends and family members. And the other thing, too, is that if someone gets hurt on the move, they're not going to be trying to come after you. When you use professional movers, they'll be going after their employer. Now, I mentioned renter's insurance before, and I didn't go into enough detail with that. So I want to kind of circle back and talk about the renter's insurance. And then I'm going to come back to the professional movers. But while I'm thinking about the renter's insurance, if you are renting, do not skip out on renter's insurance. You need to understand that the landlord's insurance will not cover your personal property if it's damaged by anything that might happen, whether it's a flood, a fire, some drunk person drives their car through the front of the house and your stuff gets all busted up. Your landlord's renter's insurance is not going to help you. The other thing is that your renter's insurance will include liability coverage. So if someone is there visiting you and they trip and fall down and break their leg, you have liability insurance to help pay for the cost of their medical care. So don't skip out on that. Now, back to the movers. And I know I'm all over the place, but now these are just kind of coming to me, kind of stream of consciousness. So when I moved, I labeled all of my boxes. I tried to be as specific as possible in labeling my boxes. Master bedroom, bedroom number one, bedroom number two, bedroom number three, office, dining room, kitchen, family room, whatever. What I did not do was micromanage the movers when they were unloading the truck. And, they're moving fast because they want to get it done. So I didn't expect that I would need to micromanage them because we had walked through the house. I had told them, this is bedroom one, this is bedroom two. What I had planned to do that I didn't do was put up little signs that said master bedroom, bedroom one, bedroom two. So what ended up happening was that although the majority of boxes ended up landing where they needed to land, there are some boxes that did not. For instance, I have boxes that should have been in the master bedroom that are in the room that I'm using as an office. I'm using the living room as an office. I have boxes that should have been in the master bedroom that are in the family room. So if you can micromanage and just kind of make sure they're putting everything where it needs to go, it's going to make your unpacking experience so much easier. Now, another thing that I want to talk to you about, and this is really important for people who are 50 plus or who have joint or foot problems. If you are moving into a house with hardwood floors, you need to know that hardwood floors are much harder on your feet and your joints. I didn't know that. I moved into a house that has hardwood floors throughout. And a couple weeks ago, I was like, God, why are my feet and my knees killing me? And then it hit me, it must be these floors. So I got on Mr. Google, and sure enough, hardwood floors are harder on the joints and the feet than laminate, rigid core vinyl plank, carpet. So, what do you do to mitigate that wear and tear on your feet and joints if you have hardwoods? You're going to get some rugs and some good pads. And once I Googled and confirmed that the reason my feet and my knees were killing me as much as they were was probably because of the hardwood floors, I went right to rugs.com and ordered me some rugs and some pads. I haven't put them down yet because I'm still in the organizing phase, but I did make those purchases. And then the other thing is that you might have to kind of change your routine. I don't usually wear shoes in the house. I wear my house slippers, but Until I get my rugs and my pads down, I've been wearing my Skechers tennis shoes just to kind of beat back some of that wear and tear on my feet and my joints from the hardwood floors. So, these moving tips will hopefully make your move a lot smoother and a lot less stressful. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, like this video, hit that notification button so you can be notified of any videos that I post in the future. Bye.